Welcome back to another exciting episode of Discovering Unique Hobbies, the podcast. I'm Zach.
I'm Cody.
And tonight we're diving into a world where music, Pokemon cards, and classic 90s video games collide. Get ready for a symphony of diverse passions as we unravel the fascinating hobbies of our special guest and dear friend, Dusty Skyler. So, welcome back, Cody. How we doing, man?
I'm doing good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
How about you?
I'm doing okay. Any updates in your world, in the world of your hobbies?
Yeah, you know what? I guess you could say that. I think I've discussed this with you where the fitness and nutrition part of my life is not, or the weightlifting part and the clean eating isn't really a hobby of mine.
Yeah.
And I did the nutrition certification, but I've been playing around with launching like a social media fitness thing where I could just put, as a nutrition coach, put a couple facts out there with some content, not make it too hard. And honestly, it's been kind of rewarding, but I've already noticed that I'm starting to make it work.
Nice.
Like I'm starting to be like, okay, well, I can do this, and that. And so there goes the problem again. So same old situation with me, the hobby that becomes a job.
Gets burnt out. I think it kind of delves down to you want to be a perfectionist. You pick up a hobby and then, you want to learn any and everything about it and instantly. And I'm not making fun because that's how I am.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not so much as a perfectionist, but I just, go balls to the wall, but still pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think 0 to 100 is definitely something you and I have in common.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. How about you? Anything new in the hobby front?
I was doing some organizing upstairs, obviously, with a, dog that just had an ACL procedure, had to do some, cleaning and make sure everything was good to go for him to be here. And I found some vinyls. I think I mentioned it last episode with Chase.
Yeah.
Have about 10 to 15 vinyls upstairs that haven't been opened, which is really nice. So I'm excited to try to find some way to, organize my wall behind me. But as you can see, I put some thrift store finds. I got some Del Earnhardt merch. I got my Greg Maddux ball. Which is Greg Maddux up there. That ball and the C of A are down here. But so most of my hobbies have been portrayed on my wall this week. I do have an exciting envelope to open for when Dusty's on. It's exciting for me. It's exciting for him. It'll be really exciting when I get to display what we're going to open right here. But
I'm just a fan of surprises. So
yeah,
I'm cool with that. Yeah. I
have
no idea whatsoever about anything within the Pokemon world, but
and that's where
I'm excited nonetheless.
Yeah. So obviously, cat's out of the bag. It is a Pokemon reference to what I'm going to be opening when Dusty gets here. So, before
I actually assumed that an ass out of me, I guess, but I assumed that it was Pokemon. Did not know.
No, it's all good. It's all good. So, obviously we were talking before we got on. You're not, familiar with Pokemon. You were just mentioning that. I know you have, one little one, right?
Yes. 10.
Are they 10? Perfect age for Pokemon. Are they getting into that at all, or are they more into? Is she more into the like dance and stuff like that?
She's more into dance, but she loves Roblox, so she definitely likes video games. Her mother likes video games, so there's an interest there. The easiest way to explain it is it's most of the kids you play it on their iPad or their iPad, I'd say.
Okay.
But it's a bunch of different types of mini games that they could play online together.
Okay. So it's like Minecraft?
See, I don't know Minecraft. I'd say
my brother plays it.
Imagine like a child version of Grand Theft Auto, like a free world where like they can get into a car, drive together, and talk. It's like kind of that thing, an open world thing.
Sounds like Minecraft, I think.
Yeah.
Or Fortnite. Yeah. But anyway,
Fortnite. Yeah, definitely like Fortnite for sure.
So,
gosh, the ADHD. That's what she said. It's just so hard not to do that. I could have grabbed it, but I didn't. Anyways,
I didn't even catch it.
It's just like in my head, I was like, I had to say it. Say it. So, anyways, I have a Nintendo Switch, which again I've been hanging on to that as I've played video games throughout my whole life, you know,
Yeah.
but never more than I did with like Madden or NCAA. But I've always had Mario, so
Okay.
I feel like I'd buy it and was wasting money at the time for to have that, you know, whether it's Zelda or Mario to have that. But anyways, so we've been playing that. We'll play Mario Party, things like that. But just because I know Pokemon is a thing, I bought her a game. It was something with a sword. It's Pokemon Sword, I think.
Sword and Shield. I have that game.
Sword and
upstairs.
Shield, yeah. So I bought her that, but this was 2 years ago, and she seemed disinterested. But now that she's in video games, I think it might be time to kind of bring that up. Would you say that would be a better time than maybe at 8?
Dude, I ain't got kids, so I'm not the one to ask.
Yeah, but I'd imagine it was like, would
4 years old, let him play Pokemon.
Would Pokemon be more of an easy thing for a 10-year-old to understand in general than an 8-year-old? Maybe more interest, I would say.
I mean, I don't really at that age.
You know what? You brought up a good point. If you're not around 8, 10-year-olds, which would be kind of weird.
Yeah, my dog is 8.
Yeah. That's why I have a dog that's 8.
Hey, I'm gonna pause.
Yeah, but if you told me you're like just hanging out with a bunch of 8, 10-year-olds, that'd be super strange.
Yeah. I mentioned Dusty's big into Pokemon. We'll talk about that. Video games,
Dude,
big thing.
Your face is
you're grainy again.
Like, Zach, you froze up, man.
It's you now.
Shit.
You're frozen.
Your face was like I wonder if you ever caught that.
Dude, you're the one that's frozen.
Now that we're back, Cody, going back to your childhood, I know you're a lot significantly older than I am. So what was your first gaming system?
Nintendo. Regular Nintendo.
Which one was that? Is that the one that had like the clip?
Hold on. That's a tough question.
Yeah.
I'll answer what you just asked. But my siblings, I believe, so I have siblings that are like 10 years older than me, and they had an Atari, but it never appealed to me because I don't know. It was around. But anyways, yeah. So the first video game system that I played was definitely Nintendo. And
nice.
It was a gray box that flipped up and had a cartridge in it. That Nintendo.
Nice. And then I think the next one was the SNES, right? SNES, the Super Nintendo.
I jumped ship and went to Sega. And
dude, nice.
And
I had a Sega. Dad's
until Sona.
The Sony bought PlayStation or made PlayStation. Now, when you were playing your Sega, what's the first game that comes to mind?
Skitchin.
What is that?
Man.
That game sounds bitchin'.
It's a game that it was like a racing circuit, and you started off obviously as a new skater on rollerblades. So this is it's like a 90s themed game, obviously.
Right.
In the 90s. So skitchin is a term for roller. I don't know if it's for skateboarding too, but I know this was rollerblading, where it's when you get in traffic and hitch onto the back of a car and then ride it out instead of skating. You're just
I've seen
onto the back of skating and hitch riding.
I've seen people do that.
Yeah, and it's honestly just a wild game that is, as soon as you said that, I honestly didn't even prepare for this, think of that. I haven't thought about that game in probably 15 years.
Well, that was the exact answer I was kind of hoping to get. Not that answer specifically, but just something that off the cuff. I mean, it's the first thing you literally thought of. Now, for me, when I think of,
just to ask you, what is your first? Let's do it the same way. What's your first gaming system?
My first, personally, was a 64. Maybe it depends on the time frame. So I was a split family, but at mom's I had a PlayStation, and then at my dad's I had a 64. PlayStation, the first PlayStation 1, the one that had the gray thing that opens up. Yeah, that was my first. That was probably my first system. I got that at my mom's.
Great first system.
For real. I mean, I played the other Nintendos, but I mean, I got to play the Atari. I got to play the first Nintendo. That Duck Hunt game was super fun. So, I mean, I got to play those, but the first system that was mine was that PlayStation 1. And I was talking to Dusty about this last night, actually. And did you ever have a PlayStation? I switched from
Sega. I actually went from I had Dreamcast.
Yeah.
Shout out Dreamcast.
We had
the PlayStation.
Genesis.
I have a game in mind that I thought of instantly when you said it. But yes, I did have a PlayStation.
Okay. So do you remember, this may be a little, because like I said earlier, significantly older than me. Do you remember Pizza Hut doing demo discs?
Yeah, 100%. There was this game that I played that had like a, God, it was just like their symbols, like the Nard or it was the goofy symbol guy that they had. And then it was a game that centered around him. I once rented at Blockbuster. So
we're going to have to hold that one.
God,
I don't know.
It's
okay. Dusty will know.
Nintendo game. No. I do know what you're saying. You're talking about the little demo disc they would put in the sleeves at Pizza Hut. Like
maybe it was just like you get like 10 minutes of a game. It was a good sampler kind of thing.
Okay.
But for me, again, going back to my first system, PlayStation 1, I don't remember the first game, but there are two that come to mind. First is Spyro, the little purple dragon, and then Final Fantasy VII, which was probably my first favorite game that I had, and it started because of a Pizza Hut demo disc. And crazy enough, I played that and played it, and it was just the opening scene, and then it stops. And which is, I don't know if you've ever played Final Fantasy, but those opening scenes can be rather long. So it got me fully in, and then I had Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 2, and all goes back to first grade. Actually, I remember that weirdly.
Final Fantasy.
Oh, just getting my PlayStation. I didn't know what it was, but my friends wanted it, and I got it for Christmas.
Oh man, I was way too poor for that.
Yeah,
which is fine.
Oh, so was I. That's the sad thing. It's one of the things you realize. The sacrifices your parents made as a kid. You're just like, PlayStation.
That's a good point. Because I was dressed. My parents. My mom made sure I had good clothes, so it wasn't like I was worried about any of that. You know what I mean? So I understand that. I honestly didn't know I was poor, so that's not. I'm not looking for any sympathy. Legit did not know because never thought about that. But yeah. So you had the PlayStation. So you had the PlayStation, and so you were an RPG type person. Was that your style?
I guess. I don't know I know it means role playing game, but I've never really.
I would say Zelda, Secret of Mana on SNES.
I have a hate so deep for Zelda. Just like the old Mario games. They gave me so much anxiety where you're like boom, 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 and you got to end up on that flagpole. I hated those games.
I wasn't a fan of 1 for sure. 3 was I loved Mario 3.
No. Now, throwback though, Chase from our last episode, huge Zelda fan. I think he mentioned that he's put quite a few hours into that. And I will say this, because he might listen. He got me to play. I don't know what they're called. Breath of the Hyrule or something.
Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild. That's it. He got me to play that a little bit when he was up here over the summer. And I think it was a rainy day, and I literally just sat and I did play it, and it was fun. So I think I'm more into today's version, I guess, maybe. Not that I played it.
Was that the open world one that's like a 3D, almost like a 60? Okay.
Yeah. See, I prefer an open world game. Like I've been playing Skyrim, and Skyrim came out when I was a freshman in college, and I graduated.
Because you started with the open world with Mario 64?
No, I didn't play Mario Kart 6. I didn't play Mario 6. I did not like Mario Party. I only played Mario Kart 64 because you play it by yourself. And I was always trying to beat my dad's scores as growing up.
Style. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
I see, for me, games, I'm not big on the games that people play today. Like my little brother loves maybe Roblox, but like Fortnite, those games where all of his friends get on and play, that's never been anything I like. I like a game where
no Call of Duty. I've never did any of that either.
I'm just not a fan. I mean, I like dictating the speed and tempo of the game I play. So Skyrim is an open world, I guess it's an RPG role-playing game. You create a character and then you magic or whatever. I've been playing that, and it came out in like 2011. No.
You like it?
2010. I love it. It's the best game I've ever played, and I think it's the best game ever made. That's just Skyrim is the best game ever.
I want to see if you could guess. So my wife has started playing PS5.
Okay.
Um,
Is that the
I
newest
introduced-
one?
It's the newest one for
Okay.
PlayStation, yeah. And so I introduced her to a game, and she has played it pretty much not nightly. She'll decompress.
Yeah.
Just she has a job similar to kind of stuff that we do, and so you need that time. So, anyways, she's been into it, playing it almost every night, all in. I want to see if you could. To me, it's like the last game that you would think.
I've never met your wife though, so this is
All
gonna
right,
be
so
doubly
she's
difficult.
got a white
Don't tell me
collar. She's got a white collar position.
Dude, she playing Grand Theft Auto 5?
She is.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so it all started with me playing Grand Theft or Vice City downstairs, and she was like, "I remember this." And then,
Dude, yeah.
Then we were like, "Let's get the new one." So, anyways, I don't want to get off too far off this, but she's got me. I know that I'll act like I want to play it, and I'll just stop because I won't put the time in because I'm not that interested.
Right.
The newest one looks wild. There's supposed to be real currency in it. It looks insane, and I know she's super. It's cool to see that excitement, honestly, in her.
Well, I saw that the players will age as like the longer you play. Like for Chase, use him again from last week. All the hours, or my hours put into Skyrim, his for Zelda. Their player would start as a youngin and then would look old by the end of it. I think that is cool. The concept is cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if they've mastered it yet, but
you're adding that realism to it.
Yeah.
Real world. Mm-hmm.
Now, speaking of realism, I loved Grand Theft Auto 3. That might be one of my other. I think that was PlayStation 2, but I played that game so much. I've killed so many hookers, and I've never even seen one in real life, I don't think. And that game, Grand Theft Auto 3, and then I never played Vice City, wasn't a fan. Grand Theft Auto 5 got me back into the series.
Why were you not a fan of Vice City?
My like friends were playing it growing up, and it wasn't for me.
Which is funny because that's the only one that I like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I like 3, and I tried playing Vice City.
See, I don't remember.
Murder.
Is it before or after Vice City?
Before.
Okay.
Yeah, they're around the same time though. I think it was 3, then Vice City.
So is it like Liberty City is where the main story is?
Yeah.
Okay.
But obviously,
like the 80s reference from Vice City on it. That's the main event for me.
So I played it, and it just wasn't something that wasn't for me. But again, a game that wasn't for me, but I loved watching, and I guess this is kind of like my Twitch. I'd go to friends' houses, and they would play Resident Evil 3. Did you ever play those or see those?
No, but it's close to a genre that I was going to bring up, Silent Hill. I was obsessed with Silent Hill on PlayStation. But anyways, the Resident Evil for me, it got away. I like realism.
Yeah.
So isn't that the one that's like zombies and like
Raccoon City?
I'm not. It needs to have a little bit of believability. I don't even know if that's a damn word. But that's
I get what you're saying though, because I think it's the third Resident Evil, maybe the second, and there's like this big zombie robot that you have to big zombie thing you have to fight, and he's like huge, and he has like I don't know, like cords. And that game, I would watch my old friends play that for hours at their house, and I'd go back to my home and play my PlayStation. But yeah.
So would you ever play any sports games, or was it you would?
Oh man. I've played every NCAA football game there is.
I cannot wait until next year. I cannot wait.
So this is maybe if you're down, I would like to as soon as it's
involving that, I'm down.
This will be our hobby. Okay. I want to have an online dynasty, me versus you. Okay. We play bi-nightly. I mean, you had to have the Xbox, I think, or the new PlayStation. But
quick fun fact: they cross-play now.
Cool.
I don't know if you have PS5 and Xbox, and I played NHL with my brother-in-law not too long ago. It's kind of wild. He's on Xbox and I'm on PlayStation 5. But anyways.
But yeah, sports games. Yeah, that is, if it's not Skyrim or Final Fantasy or GTA.
You were saying that you wanted to do a dynasty. We'd play the whole.
Oh yeah, so I would love. It doesn't have to be just us. Maybe we can open it up to listeners, but it has to be somebody who wants to do this consistently. Yeah. But I still have NCAA 14 from my 360 upstairs.
One of the best games ever played.
The best game, and there's the reason they're still selling it for $60. a decade later. So it's so that game is probably my favorite game of all time, even better than Skyrim.
That's my second.
Because I can still play it, and I am almost unbeatable when it comes to the spread option. I will say that, and I will, if we have to stream it, I will. But I think it would be. Didn't really matter who the team was because I always play with like the bottom feeders. I love making shitty schools like Akron or Idaho or UMass.
The Idaho Vandals.
Yes,
The Idaho Vandals are going all the way this year. Louisiana Tech.
The 12-0 Idaho Vandals have just beaten the Akron Zips in the Sugar Bowl. So that's the kind of stuff I love about college football.
Yeah, and then those stickers, man. Even the stickers would be on the helmet. Remember how fun? Like even those little things were amazing to me. But yeah, there's one sports game that I would rank above that.
Don't tell me. I'm gonna get two guesses. Sports games era.
You're talking about what time, what year, like general? Oh, it's with do you want a 10-year frame?
Sure. And I need the sport.
Football, 2000 to 2010.
NFL Blitz. Oh.
And I'm pretty sure, I mean, we'd have to see what other people think.
You're not going to say Madden.
No. And this is
that Madden 04 with Michael Vick on the cover?
You may not have ever been exposed to this. I'm wondering. NFL 2K5, man.
Yeah, I played Madden.
I know. Madden was my shit, still is. I've had it every year, but that game.
Yeah.
It was, I don't know if it was the Berman highlights. And look it up. I just saw it the other day on all these, the Facebook fan pages, and it said something like voted number one of all time. And I'm like, man, I'm not the only one.
And NFL 2K.
It was. Yeah, I don't know if it was 2K5, but it was 2K5. But
they also had EA Sports also created College World Series baseball game. Same. It was the most asinine thing. I literally would trade Texas players to Radford University, and I would make Radford or Virginia Tech at the time super powerhouses. But
that's fun.
Aluminum
bats, yeah.
Segue time though. It's time to bring Dusty on.
How's it going, guys?
What's up, dude?
All right, I'm good.
It's been a while, man. Been a while.
It has.
We're gonna have to get you to Pittsburgh sometime.
Oh, for sure. I'd love to come out. Be great.
Hey, Dusty. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I was getting ready to introduce you. This is Cody. Cody is an old coworker of mine. Dusty, tell us a little about who you are, and then kind of what got you into music, and then we can kind of throw in some Pokemon in there as well.
Oh, for sure. So I went to Radford University with Zach. Studied marketing. And later on, I also went back to school for IT.
Nice.
I did data center operations and network administration. And right now I'm working on my CCNA. So that's going to be a big test coming up.
Yeah. You and these tests, man.
Sure, I know, right? It's
so are you still doing stuff in the music scene?
I'm still in the music scene too. Yep.
Nice.
So I play local bands here and there. We usually if a band needs a guitar player, bass player, keyboard player, I'm there. So,
what kind of music is this?
For sure.
Yeah. What kind of music is this, Dusty?
I play hard rock, classic rock, metal, pop punk. Pretty much anything really. So,
we'll
awesome.
I love it all.
If you're all right, man, we'll try to dub in some of your stuff. I know you're not with Clock Strikes 12 anymore, but.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, I mean, I can send you some stuff if you want to double.
Nice.
So, as a fan, Dusty, what is your genre of choice if you had to pick one?
My genre of choice, I'd say classic rock.
And what do you consider classic rock?
Nickelback and Creed.
I'm mentioning.
There's a Creed concert coming up, but
with arms wide open, you'll be there.
Arms wide open, yeah.
So classic rock.
Stack of ours.
For me, classic rock, I'd have to say I love Aerosmith.
Nice.
They're one of the best. And then, I love like Rush. I'd say, the classics, like Kiss, Ozzy, Black Sabbath.
It's interesting that your classic rock is obviously I'm older.
Yeah.
And
Not too much.
Yeah, but my classic rock is more of like instead of what you just said, it's like a decade earlier. I think it's like Jethro Tull again maybe more of like a harder version of that kind of stuff is what I remember.
Oh, I
That
like Jethro Tull. Yeah, for
yeah.
sure.
So you're a fan of Jethro Tull,
Mhm.
Steely, like was it Steely Dan?
Okay.
Again, it's just weird for me. Aerosmith, I guess they were around in the 70s too, right?
Mhm.
I never even really thought about that because I remember them most from the 90s, like the big ones, that album cassette. So you probably know what a cassette is.
Oh,
Yeah,
he does.
no, I love. I actually have that CD, the big ones. Yep.
Hold on. So I keep forgetting that you guys are closer to me than a lot of my coworkers now. I'm so used to like 15 years younger than myself.
Especially.
Dusty, how old are you?
34.
34. Cody, what are you? 39?
I'm 41.
See, not too far off, man.
Yeah, but in my head though, I'm thinking
You are significantly older. That's another callback.
I'm surrounded by people at work, a lot of them that are, some of them are 22, 23, and it is wild to be twice their age. So I'm so used to that. It's just like, what's your favorite band? Kid Leroy, which is fine, but it's just not, But anyways, Dusty, so you, again, maybe it was my ADHD. I have no idea where my brain was at, but are you a singer? Do you play an instrument? Like, what do you do in these bands?
So the band that I would say made it the farthest, I was the guitar player. So I play lead guitar.
Okay.
Yep. And we recorded an album up in Cleveland, Ohio. We were in the same studio with Standby Records. They did bands like Black Veil Brides and Emerosa. It was pretty cool.
Oh, nice.
Is that a big scene up there in Cleveland? It seems to be like a big music. Obviously history of rock, but I remember going to a lot of like punk. Like, I don't know if you've ever heard of Mayday Parade. I've been to a bunch of their concerts, right? And then a lot of they were around Cleveland a lot.
So our first episode, Cody, you said that it was what was the band that I played? All Time Low, Dear Maria. Count Me. Is that All Time Low? So that's the kind of music I think that Dusty's band kind of, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's kind of the same genre era, maybe a little bit harder.
We were kind of more. I definitely know All Time Low.
Maybe not All Time Low. May not be the best option.
Yeah, what would be the most similar popular band that maybe I would recognize?
It would have been Avenged Sevenfold.
There it is. That's it.
That's what we were doing. It was more like melodic metal.
And those are the dudes with like, and I'm not trying to be like, have a joke here. There's a guy like different names. It's like Deviant. You know what I'm talking about? Like, for some reason, I thought like one of the main singers had like a name that wasn't really his name.
Oh, okay.
Wait, hold on. Who's the lead singer of Avenged Sevenfold? Nobody?
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
What is it?
You sounded like. What's that?
What is it? Zachy Vengeance?
I'm not sure.
Dude, I'm telling you, their name. It was like. It would be like Johnny Hearts or some weird. It was something crazy.
No, that was the guitarist from Guitar Hero.
No, man.
Sure, I promise. I'm just
all
kidding.
right. Keep going. You asked a question. I'm finding this out.
So while you're looking that up, Dusty, I'm kind of getting back to the classic rock versus what is classic rock. Who do you think started? And I have my own personal opinion on this, but what band do you think started modern day or plunged rock into modern day rock and roll? I think more modern day. I'm thinking it's probably more of the 90s rock.
More modern day.
Yeah. Wait, Nirvana?
I would say, because they're kind of more like grunge,
Yeah.
That was kind of like the end of like rock and roll with Van Halen and all that kind of stuff.
So I guess my question is more along the lines of like who kind of started rock and roll? Who would you say started
rock and roll? That's a good question. It would probably be the Beatles.
Yeah.
Can I insert a fun fact here to the three of us?
Mm-hmm.
I took a class in college, history of rock and roll, and that was a question.
What was the answer?
Just keep going. You need to
Wait, is this you don't know the answer? Or you...
I know the answer. I want to give you another chance.
I mean, it could have been Elvis.
Black Sabbath.
Close. Elvis is rockabilly.
Rockabilly. Okay. There's so
Black
many
Sabbath.
rock, you know, like
No, you're off base. So
Black-
imagine it's not who you think it's going to be. It's Little Richard.
Little Richard. Okay.
He's credited with the start of rock and roll. That's not a joke.
That's cool.
It was a super interesting class, honestly.
I know.
Who knows that whole it's also very opinion based, but I loved it just because Nirvana was in the book. I mean, how many times it was one of those freshman courses you need to have for arts and sciences. But as soon as he said that, I was like, man, it was like they determined what rockabilly was. Styx was in, and we listened to music for the exams. It was kind of crazy. But anyways,
I love Styx. Yeah.
Play Renegade. Matt Canada got fired today. Play
Oh
Renegade.
yeah. I'm so glad we didn't do the Steeler way this year.
Yeah.
I have those names. Can I come back?
Yeah. What are the names? Oh, not from earlier. Call back.
M Shadows.
M Shadows. Yep, that's it.
Yep. Zacky Vengeance.
Yeah, that was the one I.
Sinister Gates.
Sinister
And
Gates.
I'm assuming this is going to be Johnny Christ and not Christ.
Johnny
And
Christ.
then Brooks Wackerman.
And done.
And done. Wackerman and done.
Brooks and Dunn.
Wackerman. But yeah, so I just
country music.
that's the first thing that came to mind was their names, Avenged Sevenfold. But they're obviously famous enough to. I'm just trying to think of a big hit of theirs,
Yeah.
so I can understand your music. You know, do we know that, Zach? Can somebody?
I think.
You have a hit.
What's the question? What do you mean?
Like, what's a hit song of theirs?
Whose?
I'm trying to imagine Dusty's music.
Oh, like a
style
hit
music.
song of Avenged Sevenfold.
Okay, I see what you're trying to say. Beast and the Harlot, maybe?
Yeah, that was a big one.
Yeah.
That was from the City of Evil album. That,
Yeah.
I'm having another Gengar moment here.
I'd say
I cannot think of anything. We'll move along, and I'll imagine what.
We'll
this
have to
is.
edit all this out. But
Zach, before I'll grab my shirt too. We'll do that.
nice.
Yeah. Once we'll
We'll get to it. We'll start that before Pokemon.
Yeah,
So So for you, so obviously this podcast is about hobbies. You know, I when I reached out to you, I mentioned that both Cody and I struggle, getting into hobbies. I collect sports memorabilia and this random Gengar from Kennywood, but outside of that, it's very difficult for me to kind of stay on track with the hobby. So for you, what do you define? What would you define hobby as? And would you kind of, this is a two-parter, would you kind of see music or like the collectibles, like games and stuff like that, as more of your hobby?
I would say collectibles is more of my hobby.
Okay, cool.
Music, I would say, is like my life.
I like it.
Yeah. I mean, there's like weekend warrior musicians, but I dove deep enough down the rabbit hole that at one point in my life I was playing music for my full-time job. So
yeah.
And that
I remember
a little
those
bit
days,
more
man.
than
And it goes back though to
So.
he said of the two that one sounded like work, the band,
Mhm.
and then the other one has a tangible item, which
Yes.
we constantly talk about here. So
Yeah, so we brought it up in the last both episodes that we've recorded so far that Cody mentioned it, that he feels like for it to be a hobby there has to be something that you touch, kind of. I mean, you have maybe better verbiage for it, but
right.
it helps. Like, I don't want to show these cards just yet, but like for instance,
No, you're good.
This Dale Earnhardt Coca-Cola thing, like
Hell
I have
yeah.
Dale Earnhardt stuff, and
yeah. It goes back to
That's my
like
hobby.
think about show and tell. How fun we talk about that. Show and tell was amazing. It was like the best part of our day. Whenever you're bringing your stuff in, and I think
that and dodgeball.
Oh, dodge! Yes, it's one of those things where you're sitting there and you're like, this is awesome. I'm bringing in these Pogs that I collected, or these Pokemon cards, or and honestly, it's cool. I remember like people bringing stuff up that I wasn't even interested in, but to see their excitement, you're just I can tell you're super interested in music and Pokemon. Dusty, just by the way you react.
Well, it's not just Pokemon. For
like
real.
all kinds of stuff, man.
So what are some of your more, I guess, prized collectibles that you have?
Well, I was gonna say too, like jumping back to like the music.
Yeah.
Even though I think of music more of as like a job, even though I love it, like a lifestyle type thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you can still collect with the music too. Like, I collect guitars.
Yeah.
It's an expense. That's an expensive hobby, collecting guitars.
Yeah. I know about that one too. Not personally, but
Yeah, I mean, like this one right here.
nice.
Jackson solo.
Love that color, man.
Yeah, man. Oh, we're gonna jam.
Who's better?
I love how I'm doing, like I'm doing a bass.
Slapping the bass.
Yeah. But
For you, it's more about the collectibles. What collectibles specifically?
so specifically, I'd say obviously, like Pokemon cards. We talk about that all the time. I love collecting Pokemon cards. I think that was like actually, I would say that was like the second hobby I got into, because before that, and I brought some stuff too,
Nice. Show and tell for the class.
There it is. And
Content, love it.
Dusty, while you're doing that, how old were you when you got your first Pokemon card, if you can remember?
Let's see here. So they started, I think it was 96, right?
99.
Yeah.
96, 98. It was somewhere in
98.
Was it 98?
Mm-hmm.
So that
That's
was
the first gen.
like 10 years old, I guess.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, it was. I still remember when they first came out. I mean, you were lucky if you could get like a pack of cards, because I mean, it was such a big thing. Like they were sold out everywhere.
Yeah.
You had to beg your parents to like bring you to the store to get them.
Were there like lines and stuff for these things, like releases and stuff, like any of that going on?
Pokemon, yeah, I feel like that was like a big trend back in like the 90s, for everything from video game releases to.
Yeah, man, I remember that. I remember standing outside for Madden, which is crazy to think.
The midnight releases.
Yeah. What was I doing?
Dude, I couldn't stay up for midnight if somebody paid me anymore, man. I'm done by 9:30. But yeah.
Agreed. I mean, but back then, I mean, we couldn't order things online, so that's how you got it.
It was now life's too easy. We're turning into Wall-E.
So 10 years old, all these years later, I'm assuming what, 24, I'm trying to do that math. And 24 years later, and you're still a huge fan. What is your most valued card now?
My most valued card? I'm trying to.
If you had to get rid of every card that you had except for this one.
That's probably the English version of what I have in my hand.
All right, wait. Yeah. It's always the Charizard,
It's the Charizard. Yeah, I got the Japanese first edition.
One.
Why is this? What's so special about the Charizard?
So I have a story real quick, if you don't mind, Dusty.
Go for it.
So, same question for you. I think I mentioned this with Chase, our first episode. The big reason for me getting into Pokemon, like I only played the games. I played Pokemon Stadium on the 64, played Pokemon Blue and Silver on my Game Boy. Now, those things are kind of obsolete. You do it for fun, just to kind of mess around. But for me now, I got into the cards because I really wasn't allowed to as a kid. And the reason for that was my mom heard a story that someone got stabbed in a store over a Charizard card. So I don't know the real hype that got all this started, but there was at one point someone stabbed, and my mother probably thought it was witchcraft. So that's why I do it now. So to answer your question, I don't know what it is about Charizard. Maybe Dusty knows.
Is it better than the other ones? More rare?
I mean, it depends, like getting into the gameplay, like TCG.
Trading card deck.
If you're trying to build a fire deck, you probably want a Charizard in your deck.
So
yeah.
Dusty, just talk with Cody as if he has absolutely no idea what Pokemon is, because that is more or less who you're talking to.
Okay.
Yeah, our first episode, we had a real fun Gengar segment that's right here. I can't point out.
Yeah, so like if you and Dusty, if Zach and you were friends and you saw me mosey on down, you guys are playing Pokemon, and I go, "Hey guys, what's this?"
Oh,
Aside from my weird voice, what are you gonna say to me? Like, and honestly, like, how are you gonna introduce it? Assuming you wanted to.
yeah, pretty much. I'd say just I I feel
It's
like
difficult, man.
I would say like back then it would be more like, hey man, like check out this Game Boy game I'm playing, Pokemon. It's so rad, even back then that would be the word, like
That's what got me
what
into
I want to
Pokemon.
hear. Yeah, this
man.
is exactly what I want to hear. So like, you'd be playing a Pokemon game on Game Boy, and you're like,
it'd be on the bus usually.
Okay, and then so how does it get to the cards?
So for me, the card game actually came later, because I feel like it was like, when we were like 12 years old, 15, like younger, we weren't trying to like figure out how do I play this card game. It was more like the Game Boy game was a lot more accessible and easier to just play, I mean, it's, from my understanding, like, I think it's kind of like a spinoff of Magic, like the TCG game, which is way more complicated than, just like running around with a Game Boy. You got Ash and Pikachu's following behind you. So,
Hey guys, can you give me 1 second? There's a light that randomly just turned on in my office. I'm not joking at all. I'm just gonna lean over here and shut it off.
Okay.
It was recorded, so let's get back here.
The Zuckerberg's after us.
It's an old light that's one of the twisties that just turned on. So
no worries, we're back.
Yeah, we're back. So,
but basically, So basically, Pokemon is. The point of the game is, you're this kid that is on an adventure to collect all 151 Pokemon.
So how many was that again?
151.
Started 151. Yep. Because if you, I think at the end of the Game Boy game, if you moved like a truck, you could get Mew, who was 151. That was like the hardest one to find.
Yeah.
But I never found Mew. I found Mewtwo, I think.
Yeah, Mew was tough. That was. You can look up YouTube tutorials on it, but
I'm starting to buy in here. So you're like on the hunt for something.
You're on the hunt, pretty much. And sorry.
Well, no. So like the video game, we're just strictly talking the video game now. It's literally just collecting and making your party, your 6 party of Pokemon as strong as you can to fight other people's Pokemon.
Wait, are we talking about a game about a guy collecting things?
Yeah, it's like that's the whole game. It's a collection game.
You're overthinking it.
We're talking about a game, but it's a game about a hobby.
It's a game about a hobby.
Is it a hobby because he has to compete? So it's like it's his job.
So having a good time. I remember my nephews playing that or watching that show. But,
catch them all.
Gotta catch them all.
See, what made it big too, though, was you had like the red version and the blue version, right? So to collect all 151 Pokemon, you had to have both game cards. You had to have a link cable between the Game Boys. So we'd be sitting on the bus like trading Pokemon, like sitting on from.
There are Pokemon who are game specific. So that was honestly, Dusty, going back to that with my old neighbor, that was state of the art for me. Like I never heard of like internet games, like playing Call of Duty. So we had those 2 bulky Game Boys with that bulky cord coming between them. When now you can just like probably, tap Apple Pay somebody a Pokemon, but it's good stuff back in the day, man.
Is it skill to find the Pokemon, skill and luck?
The game.
It's both. It's skill and luck because.
So I guess it's a broad statement.
We're still talking video game, right?
Yeah, the video game for sure. Skill and luck. We were walking through the grass, and all of a sudden you go into the fight scene with the Pokemon, and you have to, basically like get the Pokemon's HP down enough so you can throw the Pokeball at it, and it's weak, so it'll catch it.
Yeah.
But you don't want to hit it too hard because then, you'll kill it, basically.
Knock it out. Now,
knock it out, basically.
And then, so with the video game, you get badges for winning, becoming a gym leader.
Yeah, exactly.
The whole 9, and then you become the best, and that's the end. And then I don't know how to describe it further.
The very best.
The best ever was.
No one ever was,
now. one thing I tried to explain this to Cody, I think last week.
Because you do have to catch them all, huh?
You gotta catch them all, bro. It's
Gotta catch them all. Gotta catch them all.
you're in it to win.
Now, with I forgot my thought there. With the trading card game, I've we talked about it. I tried the app to play the game. It's kind of confusing. I don't really understand it. So Cody I was trying to explain to him how the card game works. Can you kind of give him an idea of how the game itself, the cards work?
It's kind of like a turn based in the sense, so
Do you have a card to show him with like points and stuff like that?
yeah, so if we're looking at the Charizard, right?
Mine's all in Japanese, so I'm not gonna know.
I know that's a little hard to. I'm sure that's probably like a fire
good looking
spin
card.
pack. But kind of like the key of the game is
So you got points and energies and stuff like that.
you got energies and points. Yep. You got prize cards. So basically, when you knock out somebody, it's so your opponent's Pokemon, you take a prize card, and you have 6 prize cards on the board. So once you take all 6 prize cards, you win. But it's a little bit more tricky than that because just as in the Game Boy game, you can like treat your Pokemon. Say if they're down to like 10 HP, you can and you have like 2 energies. See how there's like retreat costs on the bottom?
No, he doesn't. Yeah, he might not be able to see it.
I actually have seen the cards. I didn't know what any of that meant.
Yeah.
So
No, I've seen these before. I never knew what any of that meant. Yeah.
No,
no
it's
worries.
all points.
Specifically
and-
after the last episode, I remember looking it up.
Mhm.
Yeah, he actually did. Nice.
So on your
I
card,
did.
right? Yeah, you got retreat costs, which is say if you want to waste 3 energies to get your Pokemon out, so it doesn't die, you can do that. If you don't have energies, then you might just lose your Pokemon and
So-
prize card. You got resistance, which means say
This will help.
okay, so what's the resistance on that guy? Do you see it?
So if you're looking at the very bottom, resistance, it's the fighting -30.
So that would be like a rock Pokemon. So like say if a rock Pokemon did like an attack to you, that means you have a -30 resistance. So that attack does 30 less damage.
So it's a fighting card game. And there's a lot of
So it's going back and forth.
a lot of moving pieces, a lot of drawing, a lot of discarding. And then
Some
the big things are these attack numbers right here. So if I had 3 of those
Yes.
energies and I could lay those on top of him, he would then, for Dragon Rage, I'm reading this backwards, would be 50 points off of the other person's HP, which is up there.
Up there.
So
exactly. You got it. Yeah.
A lot of nerd talk.
Exactly. And then say on your Japanese Charizard, it's got like a Pokemon power. Like say on mine, like the Poke Power up here. I know it's probably
But, I have like the whole 3, all of them.
there you go. So yeah, so with the power, it says on this one, you may turn all energies attached to Charizard into fire energies for the rest of the turn. So say if you had like, I don't know, like a grass energy on here and a sidekick energy, it would make like all those energies fire so you can use your attack. Because say if you have a fire and a grass, 4 energies, but they're not all fire, you can't attack. So
what we need to do is get Cody. we got to get him in on an actual game so he actually sees it happening, because
yeah.
I would be lost if it wasn't for me having already
I'd
played.
give it a try.
Well,
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Yeah, like that's why I
lost.
say like the TCG online is a good way to learn, is because there is a lot of moving parts to the game.
Yeah.
Because then you have all the trainers too, and those
Yeah.
affect the Pokemon in different ways. Say, if you want to pull a Pokemon out, but you don't want to use your retreat cost, you could use like a trainer to pull the guy out.
Yeah.
You
So
know?
there's special cards, and it's each card has like a different ability, and at the end of the day, it's just about knocking out the opponent's cards. And I think at the end, don't you get to take one of theirs?
Um,
Is that a thing?
At the end, I
Of
mean,
the-
it depends what you.
Oh, I guess that's more of house rules.
Oh, you mean like
At the end of like, say like me and you were fighting like a Pokemon card deck, and then
Yeah.
you beat me, you don't get one of my prize cards, right, or something like that.
So the prize cards, that's just your counter to know like how much
Okay.
life you have left. Say like overall.
So when you get down to one, you know you're about to lose potentially.
Yeah, pretty much. You're in trouble if you only have one prize card.
Yeah.
So
So when you collect cards, do you collect them to play the game, or do you collect them to add to your collection?
so say when I was younger, I collected them just to collect because I thought
Nice.
they were awesome.
Yeah.
But now I collect them for the game because I think it's it gives them like a new meaning.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you
So-
play like in a group of people? Like,
How does that work?
I just play online, to be honest. It is cool to have the cards like right in front of you. It's easier to like kind of like read like what's going on, you know, like all the different attacks and trainers and
Yeah.
this and that. It's like because that's the thing. I mean, like I said, there's so many moving parts to the game. It's not like a.
It's very
I guess.
yeah. It's hard to explain without a video, so we might try to send you a YouTube video, and then we'll be bringing you back, Dustin, because there's definitely going to need to be a second
Yeah.
episode.
yeah, and we could add some graphics in here too
Yeah.
to help
Yeah.
viewers, and then also myself.
Or
again.
maybe a follow-up video of you two playing, or him showing us how that game is played.
Yeah.
Screen
What we
showing or
should do is you have the TCG online account. We could just me and you could just play
I might for our next episode. We'll do that, so you have a better idea.
videotape it,
visual.
you know.
Yeah.
Kind of cool.
So,
That's
so,
bad,
Dustin,
Yeah.
so you play digitally now. Do you get those the Pokemon digitally from the QR codes on the one card inside the pack?
Yeah, so
Now,
what it does is it so it gives you a virtual pack and then you can
Nice.
open the virtual pack and you get
It's
more
like an extra
cards.
pack.
Yeah, and then you can add it to your deck if you want to. If you don't want to, then you just end up having a lot of cards. But
Yeah.
that's what makes it tough though, is that it's not like the cards in the pack are what you get. It's all random.
Yeah, I didn't know if you got a Charizard in this pack and you also have that QR code card. I didn't know if it'd give you a Charizard or a Magikarp or something.
Oh yeah. It would just give you like a random 6 cards, but
Nice.
within that deck.
Yeah. Okay.
So, what is the card? Why is the card? Maybe you guys don't know the reference, but which one of the Pauls wore the card around his neck that was worth like $1 million?
Oh,
I just want to know why a Pokemon card would be worth that kind of money.
Are you talking about the illustrator card?
No, he's not like Luke. What is it? What's their names? Logan or Jake Paul. Before they went to a boxing match or something, they had
It was Logan.
chain.
It was
Logan had a chain with I think it was a Charizard on it. I don't know.
Anyways, I just didn't know if you knew why anybody would have, why would value it some ridiculous amount.
A lot of that stuff is valued off of like just rarity. You know, like maybe there was only one card made. It's kind of like what was that? Was that Magic with the Lord of the Ring card? Did you hear about that?
All I knew about, I think, Magic was Purple Eyes White Dragon or something like that growing up, or Double Eyes White Dragon or something. I don't know.
Okay.
So is Magic like a play on like Dungeons and Dragons? Is it a card game? Like, I don't know Magic either. I've seen it at the stores, but you guys brought it up. That's what I'm asking.
That is a classic tabletop, adventure.
Yeah,
That's like
there's
a
no cards in that.
world.
It's just
Yeah, D&D is more a verbal game with many figures. I think
I think so.
where you're role playing. Where
Yeah, I
think
get that.
Magic-
I guess what I meant to ask is the genre, like the magic, the theming of it.
Oh.
Insane.
Mhm.
Is there a bunch of wizards?
Magic. Yeah.
I don't know
I
too much about
may
Magic.
or may not have a couple wands back here for the record. A lightsaber, So
Cody's a
I do
Disney
have
nerd.
collect. Well, Disney and Harry Potter.
I'm not like a Magic expert, but I do know that it's supposedly it's similar to Pokemon. Like Pokemon is kind of like the not as complicated version, I guess.
Yeah, as complicating as it sounds, it makes more sense if you see the cards in front of you. So that was kind of
Well, I
it'll
think we're
make more
also
sense.
looking at what 20
Yeah.
with almost 30 years of this stuff, all the different products, different advances. I mean, I played Pokemon Go. I remember it.
Okay.
And actually, it helped me because I ended up getting the Harry Potter one.
Oh,
The one-
Nice,
And I
nice.
ended up, which is, I guess, kind of ironic because you would find beasts and catch them.
Yeah,
I did that on the Harry
it's a pretty
Potter
cool
game.
concept, right?
Yeah, and
Expelliarmus.
yeah, Expelliarmus. Love it. But no, it was the same idea. And then
Yeah.
you get, so I used to get addicted to trying to get the rarest of creatures, like and
Right.
try to go. So I guess it's the same idea, correct?
Oh, yep. Well,
Now,
I mean,
Probably more involved. There's battling involved in Pokemon, correct? There was not.
Yeah.
This was more like just catch a rare, fun little thing, you know?
yeah, I'd say there's all different difficulties as you go through. Like I would say the Pokemon Go is probably the most basic.
yeah,
Yeah, and then
super easy.
the Game Boy games, and then TCG is just like all out. That's like you gotta get
You gotta know what you're doing.
Start writing down like, okay, if I do this attack and this damage and blah blah blah, you know.
It's not for
So-
me.
So if I were to ask you if I was to say I want to get off this, you know, when we're done recording this, I want to go and play a Pokemon for the first time.
Mhm.
What a video game? What would you recommend me to do? And I'm talking realistic, not go
He
to
has-
like a shop and get like an old video game.
Just imagine he has any system at his disposal. He can go pick up this game. What game would it be
What game would you be for like Pokemon wise
to get him into it?
to get you into it? I just go back to the the old school classic Game Boy. You know, just play
which-
Pokemon Red and Blue.
There it
that's
is.
core, right?
Do
I was
they
gonna
have
say-
that on like an emulator? Like where can I access that without having to go to a thrift store?
Allegedly.
It'd be a little
Allegedly.
tough, yeah. Yeah,
So I'll look it up. And
I'd
see
have to
what's
look
out
it up.
there.
Yeah,
No, there-
Red and Blue is where it started.
So Cody, actually, there is if you still had an Android, there is an Android emulator for a Game Boy Color as well, and a DS, and you can play all those games. Not so much on Apple.
Right.
Yeah.
But I would say if you want to like learn the real core of the game, just play the TCG online.
Yeah.
It's
Well-
that you're really gonna like learn Pokemon like
Yeah.
was supposed to be played.
Well, I think before even that, I think a good like intro would be Pokemon Blue or Red or even Yellow. Yellow's just annoying to me because I didn't like Pikachu
So
following you around, but
You guys have mentioned
yeah.
TCG a few times. What is
the card game,
Oh.
card game. Yeah.
Sorry,
it's
I
an
let
alliteration.
that go a few times, and I'm like, what am I missing here?
I threw it in there earlier, but I think that I was drowned out. But
Clearly missed it. Yeah.
no, it's all good. It's all good. So kind of talking those old games. I know that you have quite a bit like old systems. So kind of give us a rundown of the old gaming systems you have. I don't like the word old in that instance.
Again, like going back to like collecting, learning about systems, all that stuff. I would say I started with the original Nintendo. Like the very first one, I had Rob.
Yeah.
If you ever know, that was like a robotic operating buddy.
Rob the Robot.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, I heard that one.
I should have, man. That would have been cool. I might have to show it to you guys sometime.
Yeah, we'll get it. We'll get it. Yeah,
Really,
I'd like to add that in.
on Smash Bros. You can play as Rob.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But the real one, like the plastic robot.
Yeah. So you still have that system?
Yeah, I got that one.
Nice.
Then I got the Super Nintendo, which, I was playing stuff like, like Donkey Kong, Legends of Zelda. I'd say that was A Link to the Past, which
Yeah.
I'm sure that was one of the most classic Zelda games out there. Then, what did we go? I'd say after that, what was it? With the console wars, the N64, the Sega Genesis, all that kind of stuff.
Do you know of any of the? I don't know if you two are too young for this. So I'm realizing now that I got into this habit of I used to shovel snow because I had no money, and then I got a bunch of money that I saved up, and I got obsessed with buying video games systems.
Okay.
So I had. Have you ever heard of Jaguar? Atari Jaguar?
Yes, the hard
You
charge.
ever play it? Yeah, great one. I had Panasonic 3DO. Did you ever hear of that?
That's cool.
Sega Dreamcast. Did you ever hear of that one?
I love the Dreamcast. Yes.
Oh, we had Genesis,
I was
yeah.
waiting for that. Okay, so the Dreamcast. What was the? So did you buy that on its release?
So the one I ended up having to make a decision because it was like Dreamcast, Xbox, what was it, like PlayStation, PS1, I guess.
Yeah.
A while back, yeah. But so I never actually owned the Dreamcast. I would have to go over friends' houses to play it.
You lucked out because it was a great idea, great system, but it shit the bed.
Yeah.
Well,
But it had a little controller in it, like you said, Game Boy, and it's like you could sit there and play it, like a little memory card that you could play a video game on.
oh, I remember that. Yeah, that was cool.
So Zach said that you're into the. If you could pick out of one of the consoles that you did have, which one would be your favorite?
For me, it was I think game wise, like the Super Nintendo, but collecting wise, I would say the Sega Saturn.
Nice.
Oh, forgot about
That's
the Saturn.
old.
You had a Saturn, but you did not. Do you have a Sega CD? Did you ever hear that?
Again, I would have to go over friends' houses to play the CD. Like I never had that one.
Do you know what that is, Zach?
So.
It was like
we had like the regular Sega, and then we had like an extension thing.
yeah,
that
you put it inside. There's
it was the Genesis. Was that the Genesis?
Well, there was an original Sega, and you could buy an upgrade to make it a Genesis. Then
That's what we did. My dad did that.
Yeah, that's wild, man. I just
so Dusty, going back.
Yeah.
What was your first your personal first system?
My personal first system was I would say the
one that was bought for you.
one that was bought for me.
Yeah.
Probably the Super Nintendo. I got it for Christmas.
Okay.
And it was Super Mario World.
I was going to ask, what was the first game that comes to mind? So Super Mario World.
Super Mario World. But, at that point, I was already pretty versed in games because, I was playing the Nintendo all the time. And when the Super Nintendo came out, I was like, this is where it's at. So
Yeah.
I have one for Super Nintendo that just hit my head. Stunt Race FX. Did you ever play that? Stunt Race FX.
Stunt Race FX.
If you haven't, give it a go. Because I'm not a gamer at all, and a buddy of mine who was a huge Super Nintendo fan like you swore by that game. It's like I don't know, when you check it out, you'll see it. But Zach asked me that question earlier, and it's just a great question. I'm in love with it. What was your first system, and what game do you think of whenever you know? It's just a great one. Does that ring a bell at all, though?
What is it?
Sorry.
What was it called?
No, don't worry about it. It's a game that he doesn't know, so we can move along. So what were you saying, Zach?
I don't remember at this point.
Yeah, I've never played
It's been a long day.
next, but
So Dusty, there was one game I played at my dad's house on the Sega.
yeah.
And I cannot remember what this game is called. Maybe one of you all can help me. But there were these two. It's a fighting game. Think like Mortal Kombat. You're just looking
Okay.
and it's just 2D. Going left and right. But they were dinosaurs.
Oh, I know. what you're
Primal
talking
Rage?
about.
Yeah. That would be the. I just didn't know what it was called. That was the Sega game for me growing up.
That was a funny one, actually. That was a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Rampage, I think, was on 64. I played
Yeah,
that at a friend's house.
I have it on
See, you
Saturn,
know what,
yeah.
Zach? I did have hobbies, and it was video games.
See, there we go. It's time to
I
revive
just
it,
don't
man.
have it. I don't have the time. But this is making me want to. I want to go downstairs. And do
We
it.
have nothing but time. So,
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
what'd you bring to show the class today, Dusty? And did you bring enough to share?
What did I bring to share? I mean, like just a couple, a couple Saturn games, stuff like
Nice.
that. I'd say, it's a couple older things too. And, I was gonna say too, to answer your question about
Oh, my bad. Yeah, I do.
first hobby. Remember, what was it before Pokemon?
Yeah, I forgot I asked that. Yeah, thank you for going
And
back.
I mean, I think it was for maybe all of us. I don't know, but like baseball cards.
Yeah, it's a good
Yeah.
first one for most people,
But
right?
I have an entire those are all autographs in that thing right behind me. So baseball cards is what got me truly into collecting.
And that
yeah,
gum,
man,
that
that's where
hard
it all
gum.
started. Because I think even for Pokemon, it's kind of like it was like a familiar thing because I was like, I've been already collecting baseball cards for years, so
Yeah.
Do you still collect baseball cards?
Not as often, but
Too expensive.
I'll still buy like a pack every
Is it?
now and then, just to see what I get. You never know, but
Yeah.
some of
It's
the
so
things,
they're overproducing sports cards right now. It's
Mhm.
so many people were buying them, especially over the pandemic. People would sit in parking lots and just hover and wait to see it, just to see if the stalker was coming with card products. It's kind of sad, but it's kind of been diluted, the card market. Maybe we can get somebody to talk cards with us next week, but
Yeah.
it's a rough time right now.
it
So,
is. But
show and tell time.
let's see, what do we got? So like for
Show
me,
and
like when
tell.
I was a kid, I don't know. Do you guys remember like the home run race?
Yeah, Barry Bonds and Sammy Sosa.
Or
No, not Barry Bonds. Mark McGuire, Sammy Sosa.
yeah.
Yeah, I do remember. I just remember the chase to 70, or is it?
Nice, dude.
Yeah.
Are those rookies?
The rookie cards, yeah.
Dude, okay. We'll have to talk. We'll have to
Sammy
talk.
Sosa.
Yeah, man. Sammy Sosa, Mark.
What are those tops? What are they?
Let's see. Yeah, they're tops and
Nice.
upper deck. Same
Nice.
system for upper deck. dude.
Nice.
I do that.
The top. Which one's the tops? Is one on your left, right?
So we should probably tell everybody what he's showing.
Oh yeah. So sorry. So that was very bad radio for our listeners.
We're getting there. We're getting
for
there.
the 8 of them. There were 2 cards. One was an upper deck Mark McGuire rookie, and Dusty showed us a tops
Oh wait, hold on.
Sammy
Upper
Sosa.
deck.
I had that mixed up.
Tops.
Upper deck was Sammy Sosa, and then the tops was the Mark McGuire.
Mark McGuire.
Neither
They're
of which I
looking
have.
Clean. They're pristine.
Mhm.
Have you ever thought about sending those to PSA to get graded?
I should. I really should. I haven't.
Yeah.
I don't know. One of these days, we both need to like get our cards together and ship them out and get them all.
I have about 15 to 20 with the guy in Tampa Bay right now.
Okay.
He's my PSA guy right now.
Mhm.
But for what PSA, Cody, if you don't know, is a grading service.
Mhm.
They're top of the line, so people who want to have their cards sold for higher, generally it's not always a given. They'll send them to PSA, then flip them or add them to their collection. I have a George Pickens rookie in here right now that's a PSA 10,
Nice.
which is a gem mint.
Nice.
Right.
So it's not expensive. That's why I have it. But yeah, sorry, I went on a PSA tangent.
No,
Keep
you're
going.
good. You're good.
No, that's a good thing to bring up, just because it does pertain to that hobby.
Yeah.
If anybody that's listening or watching, and again, we're going to keep doing this, so we're going to gain more followers and listeners, and so anybody that's interested in getting into that's a term that we're going to want to throw out there.
Oh yeah, got to be more descriptive. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, keep going, Dusty. So sorry.
Yeah. So some other things, like I don't know if this is if you guys remember, like instead of the collecting, buy the whole box.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I remember
Remember those?
Dude, is that sealed?
I remember that. I remember the ones that were like
Tops 1988.
they were like cards if you got them on Wish.com. I think they were called Pro Set.
Okay.
Yeah, Pro Set. You
Yeah.
still get Pro Set at they're like the cheapest.
Yeah, they were like the weakest one. Like you'd get them and you'd be like, I got a rookie, and you're like, oh yeah, but it's Pro Set.
Hey, you never know. I mean, it could be worth something, but that's cool.
I remember Fleer Ultra specifically. I actually gave a bunch of some of mine to Zach. I still have a bunch to go through, by the way.
Mhm.
So real quick, Dusty, I just want to. You have the entire 1988 Topps baseball set,
Yeah.
and is it sealed?
It's not. but,
It's not sealed, so all the cards are still in there.
mhm.
All right.
They should
Uh,
be. But yeah,
yeah.
So you got a Daryl Strawberry in there for sure, right?
It's got to be in there.
You got a Lenny Dykstra in there. Oh.
I'd have to go through like a
Some
million.
gems in there,
Yeah,
man.
I'm sure it's in there. You know?
I was thinking, I was under the impression that the 88 tops. That is 88, right?
1988. Yeah.
88. I was thinking that the 88 tops complete set would sell for a little bit more than I was seeing on eBay. But when was Barry Bonds' rookie year? 87? 87. I think it's the 87 set that's super expensive.
I had one of those, yeah, but definitely not that.
Yeah. So anyway, I think that we have hit a good stopping point for today's episode. I think that I would love to have you back, Dusty. I think that Cody would as well. I think when we bring you back next time, I would like to have. He's a recurring guest. He has to whenever we tell him. I think next time I'd like to hone it.
Would you be open to doing an episode? Maybe we could talk about this off air, but with doing a video game one, because that's. Yes. I didn't realize there's a lot of bounce back here and a lot of stuff we could build on there.
Yeah, for sure. I'd love to. I would say maybe the next one we could, start going over like some Saturn stuff. Like remember this stuff?
Yeah.
Nice.
You're giving me this. All right. The
See,
dopamine
I'm telling you,
just hit me.
Nostalgia is the fuel that is keeping my
Zach, I was instantly
going
back in Toys R Us with my head up, playing the game on that system. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
With whatever system, man.
The shop. There's a shop right below my house. It's a kind of like a consignment shop, like different vendors throughout.
Yeah.
And my favorite shop, I've went there in the last 3 weeks twice, is a old vintage game. Kind of think the Exchange, but not as corporate. So that's where I got my 64. I got Mario Kart 64 from him. But the reason I'm telling you this, he has a huge Wii stand that it has the game and the TV that you'd see at Walmart or what have you. So do you guys remember like going to Walmart as a kid? Your parents are like, "Stay here. I'm gonna get grocery shopping done," and you just stare and you play the 64.
That's what I was talking about. Yeah. Mine was Toys R Us. So that was just
okay.
They would have them like bolted in, but it's the same idea. They would be like they'd be wired in, and you'd stand there next to your buddy or some random kid. You're just playing. Yeah. All the while you're just dreaming of whatever the hell game there was. And they had these little sleeves. I don't know if you guys had that too. Like you'd have to get the sleeve for their game and then turn it in at the Toys R Us. And I used to live at like Electronics Boutique, EB Games, GameStop.
Okay. Yep.
Traded a bunch of shit in for nothing. But
the best we can do is 10 cents.
Yeah, but yet I did it. But we could. I have a story about how I got them back. I made out. When we do get to that.
Well, congratulations for making out.
It's been awesome. It's definitely great having you on, Dusty.
Yeah, no problem. Dusty. It's been awesome, man. So we will. I will be reaching out. We'll get you back on.